Hello guys, welcome to Math Warriors. This is our second episode. Today we're going to learn about solving quadratic equations by completing the square. In the last episode, we learned that we can solve a quadratic equation using the null factor law. Null factor law was basically changing the standard form into the form of brackets x minus a, brackets x minus b equals 0. And then we said that either x minus a equals 0 or x minus b equals 0. But there is a problem. We can only use this method when the quadratic equation is basically factorable. We can factor it. But an equation like x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0, it's not factorable. So what we need to do is to use another method, which is called completing the square. In this method, we change the standard form into another form, which is x plus a value like p squared equals q, which is another value. So this method is called completing the square. Now, in order to change the standard form into the squared form, we need to know some basic rules. There are 3 basic rules that we need to know in order to change these forms correctly. We know 2 of them pretty good. One of them is a plus b squared. One of them is a minus b squared. The sum of a plus b squared is a squared plus b squared plus 2ab, and the sum of a minus b squared, the product, is a squared, again plus b squared, but minus 2ab. So we have learned this these 2 relations last grade. These are the 2 rules that we need to know, and there is another rule, which is the 3rd one, which is so important in using this method, is that if x squared equals a value like a, then x equals positive or negative square root of a. Now, this rule is pretty new, so we're going to do a few examples about it. For example, if x plus 2 squared equals 7, then the value under the square equals positive or negative square root of 7. Now we need to find the value of x, so we subtract both sides by 2, and we get x equals positive or negative square root of 7 minus 2. And for example, if we have x minus 1 squared equals negative 5, then the value under the square equals positive or negative square root of negative 5. So, as you may have realized, we can't solve this equation because there can't be no negative sign under square root, and no product of a squared number can be negative. So this equation has no solution. Okay, now I'm going to solve an actual example by completing the square. Now, if x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0, then if I want to change the form of this into this form, what I need to realize is that x squared can represent this a squared, this 1 squared, which is equal to 1, can represent this b squared, and this positive 4x can represent the positive 2ab. That's a really important thing to realize. So now, if these sentences correspond with each other, then I can change this format into this format. So what I do is that I make my brackets. Now, x squared is representing a squared. A is a squared in here, but in the brackets it's not squared. So I just put x in here. Now, I need to know that what is the value that if I multiply it by 2x, I get positive 4x. Now obviously it is 2. It is positive 2. So I put positive 2 in here. Now the sum of this square, the product, is x squared plus 4 plus 4x. But there is still a problem. Here we have positive 4, but here we have positive 1. So we need to subtract 3 values, 3 units. So what I do is that I only put a minus 3 in here and then equal to 0, and then I use my third rule to solve it. So the value under the square equals to, so what I need to do is to bring this negative 3 to this side, so it will change to positive 3. So x plus 2 equals positive or negative the square root of 3. Then, oops, sorry. Then I subtract both sides by 2. So my x will equal to positive or negative the square root of 3 minus 2. So as you see, by using the correspondence law, we realize that these sentences correspond with these ones. Now we use the a plus b because here we have positive 4x which represent positive 2ab. If this was negative 4x, then we needed to use this one because it will correspond with negative 2ab. That's an important rule to know. Now we're going to solve an example in which we need to use this format instead of the other one. So if we have x squared minus 14x plus 46 equal to 0, again we see that x squared can represent the a squared, negative 14x representing negative 2a, not positive, because it's negative 14. If it was positive 14x, then we should use this format. And then the 46 represent the b squared. So again, we make our brackets. We put the x. Now, I need to find a value that if I multiply it by negative 2x, I get negative 14x. Now what is that value? It is 7. So because it is a minus b, then I need to put minus 7 in here. Now if I solve this, I get x squared plus 49 minus 14x. Now we have the problem. This is positive 49 and this is positive 46. So all we need to do is to subtract 3 units. So I just put minus 3 and then equal to 0. And then all we need to do is to solve the equation. So I bring 3 to the other side. I get x minus 7 squared equals to 3. And then I use my third rule. Equals to positive or negative square root of 3. And then I bring negative 7 to the other side. It will change to positive 7. So my x will equal to positive or negative square root of 3 plus 7. Okay, now we're going to solve a more complex example. So negative 3x squared plus 12x plus 5 equals 0. So the problem in here is that if we want to use the square method, always and always there should be no coefficient beside the x squared. It should always be positive x squared. So in order to do that, what I need to do is to divide everything by negative 3. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4x. And positive 5 divided by negative 3 is minus 5 over 3. And 0 divided by negative 3 is obviously 0. So now we do the rest. So I make my brackets. And this time we need to use this format because it is negative 4x, which corresponds with negative 2ab. So I put my x in here. I need to know what is the value that if I multiply it by negative 2x, I will get negative 4x. So it is obviously 2. So I put negative 2 in here because we're using the a minus b. So I need to put negative 2. So if I find the solution for this, it will be x squared plus 4 minus 4x. The problem in here is that here we have positive 4, but here we have minus 5 over 3. So I need to find the difference and then plug it in here. So I need to find the difference between negative 5 over 3 and positive 4. This will give me, if I find the common denominator, I will have negative 15, sorry, negative 5 minus 12, which will give me negative 14 over 3. So that's the value. I plug it in here and equals to 0. So right now we just solve the equation. I move the negative 17 over 3 to this side. It will change to positive. So x minus 2 squared equals to 17 over 3. I use my third rule. X minus 2 equals positive or negative square root of 17 over 3. I move the negative 2 to the other side. It will change to positive. As a result, x equals to positive or negative square root of 17 over 3 plus 2. So this is the basic method. We learned 3 rules that we need to use, and we realized that if we want to use this method, there should be no coefficient beside the x squared. Thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy.